Hey y'all, Michelle Raza here with Finding Yourself SATX Life Coaching, helping you find your best self since 2017. If you haven't had a chance, please do check out my website. It's at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. There, if you like these videos and they provide value to you, besides on YouTube hitting the like button and subscribing, you can also contribute to our Finding Yourself book club. You can also start your life coaching journey on the site for only $9.99, beginning with the first personalized vision statement. So check out the site if you get a chance, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Okay, so today, without further ado, we're going to continue discussing Melody Beattie's Codependent No More. We've been talking through her chapter on learning the art of acceptance, and I don't want to make light of the fact that, it's heavy stuff, and you're not going to get through it. You know, you watched a video on YouTube, and now you're an expert. Like, that's just not how it works. So I don't want to belittle your journey. If you're taking the time to watch this, it means that you're going through some heavy stuff, and it's worth it to you to spend the time watching a boring 15-minute video on YouTube of a talking head just basically reading a book to you. Of course, you can go grab this book, you can read it yourself. I highly recommend you do. It's a great book. But there is some benefit, right, to having somebody who's read it, who's analyzed it, and who can kind of explain it and give you a shorter summary. So we are talking about learning the art of acceptance, and we're going to cover today bargaining and depression. And so this is step 3 and step 4 of the 5 steps of the grieving process. So last time we talked about anger. The time before we talked about denial. So Elizabeth Kubler-Ross first identified the stages and this process as the way dying people accept their death, which is the ultimate loss. But the 5 stages of grief, you're going to go through them for small losses and big losses. And really, as Melody is talking about this, it's talking about accepting our own reality and what we're faced with. Right? So as codependents, we have lived in denial for a very long time because we want to make it work with the people who are dependents in our lives. We love them. We do more than we should for them. And then oftentimes we're angry at them. And so that's why it is kind of a grieving process to understand that you cannot change or control or even love somebody enough for them to become responsible. They have to choose that for themselves. And so that's where we kind of run into this grief process, because it is a loss. You can't love them enough to change them. You can't love them enough to make them stand up and all of a sudden be responsible. All you can do is control yourself. You can't control another person. And really coming to that acceptance, you have to go through the stages of grief, because it's not so easy. Give me just 1 second, y'all. Okay. Bargaining. I'm on page 136 of the book. After we have calmed down, we attempt to strike a bargain with life, ourselves, another person, or God. If we do such and such, or if someone else does this or that, then we won't have to suffer the loss. We are not attempting to postpone the inevitable. We are attempting to prevent it. Sometimes the deals we negotiate are reasonable and productive. If my spouse and I get counseling, then we won't have to lose our relationship. Sometimes our bargains are absurd. I used to think if I just kept the house cleaner, or if I cleaned the refrigerator good enough this time, then my husband wouldn't drink anymore, recalls the wife of an alcoholic. So bargaining. In your own life, what are some circumstances where you find yourself saying, if they just do this, or if they just do that, and what happens? What happens when that thing happens? And this isn't to take away all hope. Like the couple that went into counseling, maybe they could have turned it around. But they really only could have turned it around if both parties put effort forth into the relationship. You can't fix a relationship by yourself. It takes two people. So when you are doing this bargaining, because I imagine if you're watching this video that you are, think about how many times have I gone through this same cycle? How many times have I had different variations of this same theme? Because it could be that you're bargaining and maybe the result is positive. Or it could be that you're bargaining and it's a form of deception from you to you. You're just deceiving yourself, right? Because you've been through this. You've had this same conversation. You've had this same instance happen to you multiple times, and you keep bargaining, hoping that the outcome will be different this time. And only you can make that determination, right? Whether you are doing something that hopefully can help your relationship, whether it be romantic, platonic, parent-child, whatever it is, right? Is this bargaining, is the result of the bargaining getting you somewhere positive? Is it making changes? Or are you running around in circles? Are you doing the same thing again and again and again, hoping that this time the outcome will be different? Because really the answer to that question determines whether what you're doing is productive or not productive for you. And you're the only one who can make that determination. It might be helpful to have like a journal, write it down. I know personally, just like my own journey, right? We all have a journey. I actually had someone not too recently tell me that I should quit life coaching, right? Because my life's not perfect. And I kind of laughed at that, because if my life was perfect, I would have no frame of reference and no compassion to help anyone who was struggling on their journey, right? We are all struggling on this journey together, and nobody is perfect. And if they act like it, they're really just hiding a lot of things, because nobody is. But on my own journey, one of the therapeutic processes that I use for myself is voice recordings. And so I need to audibly talk things out, right? And so as you can see, right, I'm a talking head. I love to talk. So I'm driving and I'm recording. And just like a voice recording, a voice clip. But you can't hear yourself when you're talking. So I'm recording and I'm talking and I'm processing, but then I need to listen. I need to listen to what I said so that I can analyze it. And that really helps me. Am I just spinning myself in a circle, being an idiot? Am I bargaining like, I'm just delusional, right? Is that me? Or are we coming up to some actual benefit from all of this bargaining that we're doing? And again, you're the only one who can determine what the outcome is. But if you journal, you might want to write it out, right? Put it down, give it a little bit, and then read it again. If you're an audio-visual person, if you need to listen to it, speak it out, record it, put it down, take some time, and then listen to it. Because you need some time to get away from it in order to be able to process it, and then either read it again or listen to it again to fully understand what you're going through. So when you're in the process of writing, you're putting it out there, you're not able to analyze it. You need to take some time and then read it. And same with the audio recording. Okay, and then number 4 here is depression. When we see our bargain has not worked, when we finally become exhausted from our struggle to ward off reality, and when we decide to acknowledge what life has socked to us, sorry, that's a weird sentence. What life has socked to us, we become sad, sometimes terribly depressed. This is the essence of grief, mourning at its fullest. This is what we have been attempting at all costs to avoid. This is the time to cry, and it hurts. This is the stage of the process. This stage of the process begins when we humbly surrender, says Esther Olson, a family counselor who works with grief, or as she calls it, forgiveness process. It will disappear, she says, only when the process has been worked out and through. So depression is a big deal, right? When you're depressed, you find it harder to take care of yourself, to take care of others around you. You can't really be a good partner, a good parent, a good friend. It's a very hard thing to go through. But unfortunately, sorry, give me a second. Unfortunately, in order to fully grieve, it's just something that you have to go through it, right? You won't finish the grieving process until you let yourself go through it. So the only way out is through. Whenever you have negative feelings or emotions, just like anger, right? You keep pushing it away, pushing it away, pushing it away. It stays with you. And so you need to feel the sadness in order for the sadness to be able to go away. You need to allow it to happen. That doesn't mean that you lose your job, you don't take care of your children, you stop taking care of yourself. Like, no, you have to find a way to keep going forward, but maybe take a weekend, right? And make it a quiet weekend and allow yourself some time to grieve, to be depressed, to be sad. Like, don't overbook yourself for that time. Allow yourself to eat the things that normally you wouldn't allow yourself to eat. Take that long bubble bath if that's something that you like. But most importantly, I mean, when you're sad, right, allow yourself to cry. In my own therapeutic process, I will sometimes purposefully trigger myself in order to allow the grieving process to happen. So like, for example, in a breakup, right, there's a particular song that is your song with the person. In trying to grieve them in a breakup, sometimes I will play the song so that it can trigger those emotions, so that like the only way out is through. Let them out so that they're no longer there. And it's not a one-time thing, right? It doesn't mean like, oh, I cried about it one time, now I'm okay, everything's good, I can go and be happy. Like, no, you might have to do it multiple times. Write it out, cry it out, take that bubble bath. Just be careful not to be self-destructive, right? Drinking 3 bottles of wine because you're upset is not helping anything. Because here we are, right? We are the codependents. We've been trying to help the dependents in our life. And so jumping from being a codependent to all of a sudden being a dependent, a chemically dependent person, alcohol abuser, that's not going to help you. So you want to allow yourself to feel the feelings. You don't want to neglect your children or your family, right? But be careful. Don't overschedule yourself, and try really hard to find healthy outlets. But you have to find the outlets. If you keep pushing it away, it's just going to come back, and you won't ever be able to get through the process. So, heavy topics today. I hope that this helps you a little bit. If you are grieving, if you are sad, if you are depressed, if you're in the middle of bargaining, right? Take some time, think about it. If you have health insurance, please work with a therapist. They're super, super helpful. If you want to talk to me, if you want to talk to me, check out my website. It's at www.findingyourselfsatx.com. And I hope that you do take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. All right? Take care. Bye.